35, 40, 47, 54. Sooner or later, it's one too many. And 68 is definitely too many. But Crawford's brilliant. Like, he's a genius.
Predictions for a potential showdown between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford continue to fuel heated debates across the boxing world.
I just want the opportunity, to fight the best fighter in my generation. That's
Fans, analysts, and fighters alike are fueling the excitement with bold opinions. Although Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford come from different weight classes, the potential for a matchup between them is quickly becoming a hot topic as both seek opponents for spring 2025.
The biggest fight in the game.
yes.
Yeah, I mean, like when you're looking at Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis, this is the next thing.
Canelo Alvarez, who last fought in September, successfully defended his WBC, WBA, and WBO super middleweight titles by defeating Edgar Berlanga. Meanwhile, Terence Crawford, who fought a month earlier, moved up to the 154-pound division and triumphed over Israel Madrimov to claim the WBA super welterweight title.
Level is able to bridge the gap in those three weight classes. It's a tall order, it's a tough task, I would think, for Terence, but at the same time, I would back him. I think that his skill level is up there with the greatest. I've never seen anybody that has everything: good speed, power, timing, can switch the way he switches, to have the tough.
For Crawford to face Canelo, he'd need to gain an additional 14 pounds to compete at super middleweight. Many believe this weight increase will be Crawford's downfall, citing the size difference as too significant. However, not everyone shares that view. Tim Bradley, a two-time world champion and now boxing analyst, has made waves with a bold prediction. On his YouTube channel, Bradley stated, "Crawford is about to beat Canelo Alvarez. He's about to beat the brakes off of him." Bradley's claim has left fans divided. Can Crawford truly dominate a fighter like Canelo, who has ruled the super middleweight division for years?
Crawford beats Canelo. Crawford beats anybody he steps in the ring with. Anybody. He don't go. No one beats. No one beats Terence.
Crawford is no stranger to making history, having already achieved undisputed status at both super lightweight and welterweight. Defeating Canelo would elevate him to a league of his own. However, Canelo isn't fazed. In an interview with Sway's Universe, he confidently dismissed Crawford as a serious threat. Canelo summed up his confidence simply, "Weight classes exist for a reason." He continued, "I'm in. Why not? Don't get me wrong, he's a great fighter, but for me, in my weight class, it's an easy fight, easy money. If the money is right, I'm in. I don't like fighting guys like Crawford. He moves a lot, and the fight isn't that great. I saw in his last fight, and he doesn't move that much now, so if the money is right, I'm in."
Why not? Why not? I think Crawford, don't get me wrong, he's a great fighter. But for me, in my weight class, it's an easy fight. For me, easy money. So if the money is right.
Canelo's statement has raised questions among fans, some wondering if he sees this potential fight as just another payday rather than a serious challenge. Critics argue that dismissing Crawford's skills might be underestimating him. Crawford supporters highlight his unmatched boxing IQ and ability to adapt in the ring. However, the doubts surrounding Crawford's ability to withstand Canelo's power remain a concern. Alexis Rocha, a welterweight contender who has fought both fighters, shared his thoughts with ES News. "There are weight classes for a reason. Canelo is a lot bigger. Crawford has good size, and he has that reach, but the most important thing in boxing is IQ.
Crawford is the man to be right now. He's on top of the world, and he has every right to be with the performance against Errol Spence. And I feel that he should be in line to fight Canelo, even though he's obviously smaller in division.
Still, Rocha leans slightly toward Canelo, saying, "I think Crawford would hold his own very well in that fight, but I would lean more towards Canelo because he's more experienced and has been in bigger fights." However, Bradley isn't convinced by that perspective. He believes Crawford's sharpness and skill set are more than enough to dismantle Canelo. Canelo's been fighting guys who stand right in front of him, Bradley argued. Crawford won't do that. He's going to move, he's going to counter, and he's going to make Canelo look slow. Mark my words.
Place where I see Canelo vulnerable, and it's crazy because in his last fight you saw, what's his name, Ryder? Yeah, Ryder explored it, and it worked. It was the uppercut.
This fight isn't just about skill, it's also about size, power, and strategy. Canelo's camp argues that Crawford's recent performance against Israel Madrimov didn't show the dominance necessary to handle a fighter of Canelo's caliber. They suggest that Crawford might struggle to bring the same explosiveness up to 168 pounds. However, Crawford remains confident. While he admits the size difference is a concern, he believes his skill and preparation will be enough to overcome the challenge. He's been vocal about wanting to test himself against the best, with Canelo seen as the ultimate test. Negotiations for the fight haven't been easy, with reports indicating that Canelo is demanding a massive payday, while Crawford's team works to ensure the fight maintains its competitive integrity.
Talk all the crazy stuff about me going up and having a tough time, but he went up in weight and lost. That's the difference. I went up weight and won. He went up and lost. You know, so let's not do that, Canelo.
The money, weight, and logistics all need to align for this showdown to happen. Fans are already picking sides, with some calling it a mismatch, while others see it as a legacy-defining fight for both men. Canelo's critics have accused him of cherry-picking opponents in the past, and they're quick to question if he sees Crawford as an easy win. On the other hand, Crawford faces the pressure of proving he can handle the physicality of a bigger, stronger fighter. The controversy surrounding this matchup is exactly what's fueling its hype. People are talking about Canelo's experience and power versus Crawford's IQ and adaptability. Some think Canelo's power will be too much, while others believe Crawford's skill will make Canelo look outdated.
Canelo, Johnny Boy Boxing, Fight Hype. I just want to ask you, what do you think about Terence Crawford? What do we think about Terence Crawford's performance, and do you want to get a fight with him?
If the money is right, I mean...
$100 million? I heard Turkey offered you a big money already.
150.
150?
If this fight happens, it could redefine both men's legacies. For Crawford, a win would solidify his place as one of the greatest fighters of all time, while for Canelo, a victory would silence critics and prove that he's still at the top of his game. The stakes couldn't be higher. James Toney also weighed in on the matchup, and when asked about Crawford's chances against Canelo, his response was direct, easy win. For someone like Toney, who's seen the highs and lows of boxing across multiple weight divisions, this wasn't just a casual remark, it was a declaration that shook the debate to its core. Toney's belief in Crawford's ability to dismantle Canelo didn't come from mere hype, it stemmed from a deep understanding of boxing's intricacies.
I'm asking for Canelo. Easy win. He'll beat Canelo. Easy win? Masterclass?
Same thing.
You think he could potentially just...
Same thing.
Same ending?
Chump. Same thing. Trust me.
Wow.
Trust me.
Canelo is a good fighter, but he's not on James Toney's level, Toney quipped, throwing shade at Alvarez's record and skill set. The implication was that, despite Canelo's accolades, he has been hyped beyond his actual abilities. Toney's confidence in Crawford goes beyond mere admiration. He sees Crawford as someone capable of adapting and exploiting weaknesses, even against a fighter as experienced as Alvarez. This bold take has sparked heated discussions among fans and analysts, with many questioning whether Toney's assertion undermines Canelo's achievements at super middleweight.
If it is done, what a trash-ass fight. What a garbage-ass fight, bro. It's a one-sided fight. Meaning, it's an all-win, nothing to lose for Terence Crawford, and it's an all-lose, nothing to win for Canelo Alvarez. I've always told y'all I didn't like...
The size disparity remains a key issue, with Crawford, having just stepped into the 154 pounds division, needing to bulk up significantly to face Canelo at 168. For many, this leap feels insurmountable. However, Toney, a man who transitioned from middleweight to heavyweight, doesn't see size as a limiting factor for someone with Crawford's skill set. Trust me, Toney insisted, hinting that he sees nuances in Crawford's style that could neutralize Canelo's strengths. Toney's comparison of Crawford's potential fight with Canelo to his own career stirred the pot further, and by aligning himself with Crawford, he indirectly suggested that Canelo's dominance at 168 might be overrated.
Everybody keeps bringing up Canelo. I think that's weird, because you'd have to gain 20 pounds? Yeah. But they say that's the money fight. That's the mega fight. That's the money fight. That's the only thing that makes sense for Terence Crawford.
Well, catch weight. You can do something at a catch weight.
What weight you think?
Probably 160 or something.
Fans of Alvarez, understandably defensive, argue that Tony's bias stems from his era of boxing, a time when fights were grittier and less reliant on promotional narratives. Whether that's true or not, Tony's words have fueled a fire that continues to burn brightly. On the flip side, Demetrius Andrade takes a more cautious stance. While he acknowledges Crawford's skill set and boxing IQ, Andrade doesn't share Tony's optimism about Crawford's chances. Canelo is a big, bad wolf, Andrade stated, painting Alvarez as a predator in the ring, someone who knows how to control the tempo and absorb the pressure of big fights. For Andrade, the challenge isn't just about size or power, it's about the total package that Canelo brings to the ring. Andrade's perspective feels grounded in reality, as he points out that Canelo isn't a robotic fighter. He's agile, intelligent, and experienced against elite opponents.
Like Terence Crawford, I see he wants to fight. He's made it clear. Do fights like that help your legacy, or do you feel like that's something that's not worth it to you?
Everything in my career, every fight make my legacy different and better. No, Terence Crawford is a great fighter.
Crawford's ability to bridge the weight gap is undeniable, but Andrade remains skeptical about whether that's enough. I don't think Crawford can beat Canelo, Andrade admitted, though he conceded that Crawford would put up a good fight. This balanced view contrasts sharply with Tony's bravado, offering a more measured take on the potential matchup. Interestingly, Andrade's comments also highlight the unique allure of this fight. Despite his doubts, he acknowledges that the bout would captivate fans worldwide. That's a huge fight, he said, emphasizing the demand for such a showdown. For Andrade, the fight represents more than just a clash of skills, it's a battle of legacies. The stakes are higher than ever, and both men have something to prove. Canelo, with his established dominance, wants to cement his place as the best of this era. Crawford, on the other hand, seeks to defy the odds and achieve something unprecedented.
Yeah, the size is an issue. Canelo is way bigger. This fight's a 54. He's got two weight classes to broach in order to get to 168 to fight Canelo. But as you said, champ,
Canelo's track record against smaller fighters adds another layer of complexity to the matchup. His recent victory over Jermall Charlo, who also moved up 2 divisions, showcased his ability to dominate opponents outside their natural weight class. For many, this sets a precedent that Crawford might struggle to overcome. However, Crawford supporters argue that his style is fundamentally different from Charlo's. While Charlo appeared hesitant and overwhelmed, Crawford thrives on adaptability and tactical brilliance. Whether that's enough to challenge Canelo's physicality remains a contentious point.
Event across town put out an open challenge to you on the internet with Turkey Al-Sheikh calling you out. What's your response to Terence Crawford's call out tonight?
No comment.
Dimitri Bivol's insights into Canelo's power add another wrinkle to the debate. Having faced Alvarez at light heavyweight, Bivol described Canelo's punches as forceful but not naturally devastating, stating, "He doesn't have that power you're born with." This suggests that Canelo relies more on technique and precision than raw strength. For Crawford, this could be a potential opening. If Canelo's power isn't overwhelming at 175, how much of a threat would it pose to a fighter as skilled and defensively sound as Crawford? Still, Andrade doesn't discount Canelo's ability to adapt. He sees Alvarez as a fighter who has evolved over time, learning how to handle different styles and strategies. Canelo knows how to move, Andrade emphasized, countering claims that Alvarez lacks agility. This versatility, combined with his experience against top-tier opponents, makes him a formidable challenge for anyone stepping into the ring.
Has the Canelo fight, realistically left your mind once he said he's not interested, or you're still pursuing it?
Not at all. I think business talks.
What makes this debate even more intriguing is the broader context of Canelo's career. With options at super middleweight dwindling, a fight against Crawford presents a chance for Alvarez to prove his mettle against a truly unique opponent. However, critics argue that Canelo's willingness to entertain this fight might be more about financial gain than sporting merit. By facing a smaller but highly skilled opponent, Alvarez could secure a lucrative payday without the risk of fighting larger, more dangerous adversaries at light heavyweight.
Hey, listen, dog. Crawford fans, I've been trying to say this, dog. Canelo at 168 is all wrong for Crawford, dog.
For Crawford, the fight represents the ultimate test. Moving up 2 divisions to face someone as established as Canelo would be a monumental task, even for a fighter of his caliber. Yet, the allure of making history and cementing his legacy is undeniable. Crawford's team believes in his ability to outbox Canelo, leveraging his speed, footwork, and boxing IQ to neutralize Alvarez's advantages. Whether that belief translates into reality remains to be seen. David Benavidez has always been confident in his own abilities, but when it comes to Terence Crawford facing off against Canelo Alvarez, he's not holding back. Speaking openly about the potential matchup, Benavidez didn't mince his words. Benavidez pointed out Crawford's brilliance as a technical fighter, but also highlighted the size and power difference that could come into play in a fight against Canelo. Benavidez admitted that while Crawford has shown greatness, especially with his skills, there are concerns about his move up in weight. He specifically referenced Crawford's debut at 154 pounds, suggesting that while Crawford didn't exactly struggle, he didn't show the same power that had made him such a dominant force at 147 pounds. Crawford had always been known for his ability to change tactics in the middle of a fight, but Benavidez raised the point that Crawford would need to jump 2 weight classes to face Canelo at 168 pounds, which could be a significant challenge.
Crawford throwing his hat in to want to fight Canelo at 168.
I mean, everybody wants to fight Canelo. It's the money fight. You know what I mean? I think even Inoue would come up to fight Canelo. Canelo wanted to fight him. I mean, I don't want to see Crawford to fight Canelo, to be honest with you. But it will be. I'm not saying it wouldn't be a great fight. It would be a great fight. But I feel like if I deserve my opportunity, and I'm gonna.
Benavidez felt that Crawford would be at a significant disadvantage from the start. As he pointed out, the thing with Canelo is that he is simply bigger and more experienced at 168 pounds. Benavidez didn't hesitate to say that Canelo would win this matchup, emphasizing that size could be a huge factor in a fight at this level. The fact that Crawford would be fighting at a weight he hasn't yet proven himself in, against a guy like Canelo who's been reigning supreme at 168, creates a mismatch in many people's eyes. Benavidez's comments reflect a broader concern about whether Crawford's technical skill set could overcome such a massive size disadvantage.
How's that fight look, sir? How does the Canelo fight look with Benavidez? Who do you favor?
I still got it at 50-50.
Canelo has proved time and time again that he can take on bigger, stronger opponents and still dominate. His strength, experience, and power have been enough to overcome almost anyone in the division, so for Crawford to jump up to fight him might just be too much to handle. While many fans are eager to see the two go toe-to-toe, Benavidez sees it as an uphill battle for Crawford despite his obvious skills. Sean Porter, another former world champion who's been in the ring with Crawford, took a more nuanced view. Porter, with his deep understanding of Crawford's capabilities, weighed in on the potential fight in his usual candid style. He said that although he saw the fight as a 50-50 matchup, he couldn't help but acknowledge that Canelo's experience in the super middleweight division might give him the edge. Porter was quick to admit that Crawford has some of the sharpest skills in the sport, but he also pointed out that Canelo's power and size could be too much for Crawford to overcome. Porter even acknowledged that Crawford had been rocked by opponents before, making it clear that while Crawford is a fantastic boxer, he isn't invincible. For Porter, the key to the fight would lie in Canelo's ability to land clean shots on Crawford, especially since Crawford hasn't yet fought at 168 pounds. He stressed that Canelo, with his strong fundamentals and ring savvy, would be ready to exploit any openings that Crawford might leave. Porter's breakdown wasn't dismissive of Crawford's talent, but rather, he pointed out the physical advantages Canelo would have in a potential matchup. Porter also pointed out that while Crawford could have a shot if he sticks to his sharp technical style and works hard in the early rounds, he still saw Canelo having the upper hand. "It's a tough call," Porter admitted. "Goddamn, I don't know," emphasizing just how hard it is to pick a winner between these two champions. But while Porter gave Crawford credit for his skills, he couldn't ignore the reality of the size difference and Canelo's dominant presence at 168. The situation with Canelo's own mindset toward the fight is also an interesting factor. While Crawford has been vocal about wanting the fight, Canelo has been more on the fence, which adds another layer of complexity to the potential showdown.
The others say like, no, that's 2 more weight classes. Like once he gets touched by Canelo, it's gonna be different.
I am concerned about him absorbing a Canelo punch, especially through the course of 12 rounds. We do know this about Canelo. He's going to slow down, so I think if anything, Canelo would try to start fast and bang on him and break him down before he gets later, and he's still got that kind of steam. But
At first, Canelo wasn't interested, but recently he said he would consider it if the terms were right. It's a classic case of 2 elite fighters, both with huge fan followings, eyeing each other across the ring, but one of them being hesitant to make the first move. Canelo has always been in control of his career, carefully selecting his opponents. He's not one to jump into a fight unless it makes sense financially and in terms of his legacy. However, Crawford's rise has changed the dynamics in the sport. Crawford's recent success and his ability to move through weight classes have brought him into the conversation with fighters like Canelo. The challenge for Canelo, however, is whether he can deal with the pure boxing skills that Crawford possesses.
Turkey Al-Sheikh say that he sent you an offer, possibly to face Crawford for coming up here. Is that true, or what happened with that?
No, I don't have any offer. And look, I'm 100% focused on this fight, and then we'll see.
Promoter Eddie Hearn also chimed in on the possibility of the fight, casting doubt on whether it would actually happen. Hearn, who has worked closely with Canelo in the past, doesn't think the fight will take place. He pointed out that Crawford is a fighter who likes challenges, but he doesn't see Canelo being willing to face him just yet. Canelo's management, according to Hearn, doesn't seem to have any real interest in making the fight happen. While Crawford might be all in, Canelo seems to be playing it cool, perhaps waiting for the right moment or the right deal.
Do you think that we'll actually see a Canelo versus Terence Crawford fight?
I don't think so. I think that he's much too much weight for Terence. His style was difficult.
In addition to these assessments, the topic of Canelo facing fighters like David Benavidez and Dimitri Bivol is still out there. Benavidez, who has long been seen as one of the top threats in the super middleweight division, recently moved up to 175 pounds, leaving a potential Canelo-Benavidez fight in limbo. On the other hand, Dimitri Bivol, who gave Canelo one of his toughest fights, could be another option for Canelo, but again, that's not a fight that has many fans excited. Canelo's history of calling the shots in his career might make it hard for anyone, including Crawford, to step in and get the fight they want. Well, what's your pick? Share it below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates. See you in the next one.